There was a time when matcha was simple. It lived in Japanese tea houses, on the menus of specialty cafes, and in the hands of people who actually knew what they were drinking. It wasn't everywhere. It wasn't a personality trait. It wasn't the thing every wellness account was pushing between adaptogen coffee and whatever protein powder dropped that week, while you've been ordering matcha lattes at every coffee shop that opened in the last 3 years. A wave of brands, some legitimate, some absolutely not, have flooded the market. They've got beautiful tins, organic certifications, and origin stories that sound compelling until you actually do the homework. Here's the thing, ceremonial grade is not a regulated term. Any brand can print it on a tin, and plenty of them do, while charging you a premium for something that tastes like it was ground from the contents of a lawn bag. So today, we're ranking 8 matcha brands from worst to best, cutting through the marketing noise, to tell you exactly what's worth your money and what isn't. Because life's too short to drink bad matcha and call it a wellness routine. Smash that subscribe button, because we're about to save you from some seriously expensive disappointment. Number 8, Carrington Farms. Organic Matcha Green Tea Powder. Carrington Farms is primarily a cooking oil and superfood ingredient company. Their matcha is not a passion project. It's a box checked on a supplement ingredient list, sitting on a Walmart shelf between protein powders and AK capsules. At roughly 7 cents a gram, it sounds like a deal. It isn't. What you actually get is a culinary grade powder that leans olive tone to near yellow, not the bright, vivid green on the packaging. Walmart reviewers were blunt. The actual powder is not even close to that color, actually almost yellow. That color discrepancy isn't cosmetic, it's a quality indicator. Matcha that's oxidized or made from lower grade leaves shows up dull, and this one shows up very dull. The taste confirms it. Extremely bitter with a burnt, stale earthiness and a bad aftertaste. No sweetness, no grassiness, no umami. Chowhound ranked it the worst in their February 2026 store-bought taste test against culinary grade competitors, not premium brands. It lost to all of them. Carrington Farms even knows better than to tell you to drink this straight. Their own guidance recommends smoothies and baking, when the suggested use case is blend it with enough other things that you can't taste it. That tells you everything. No third-party heavy metals testing, no regional origin, just organic and a green label doing all the work. At 7 cents a gram, you're buying the color of matcha without the taste of it. It's not a bargain. It's a tax on not knowing better. But if Carrington Farms is the floor, number 7 is the ceiling of false promises in a much more expensive package. Number 7, MatchaAIA. USDA certified organic. Matcha, MatchaAIA, is a smaller DTC brand leaning hard on 2 things, the ceremonial grade label and the USDA organic certification. The product is positioned as premium, priced accordingly, and that's precisely where the problem begins, because the gap between what the label promises and what the cup delivers is, bluntly, embarrassing. The first red flag is the color. Pale, noticeably lacking vibrancy. High-quality matcha announces itself before you taste it. This one doesn't. Then the taste arrives. Watery, sharp, and aggressively bitter with zero umami complexity. The sharpness doesn't resolve. It doesn't soften into sweetness the way good matcha does. It just sits there flat and harsh. Chowhound's 2026 taste test ranked it the single worst overall, beating out even culinary-grade competitors for the bottom spot. The most damning detail, adding milk didn't fix it. Dull bitterness persisted with dairy. That's not a preparation problem. That's a powder problem. What makes this particularly infuriating is that ceremonial grade is a completely unregulated term. Any brand can use it regardless of harvest timing, leaf quality, or milling method. No specific regional origin disclosed. No independent heavy metals testing published. The entire value proposition rests on 2 words that cost nothing to print. When a ceremonial grade matcha loses a taste test to culinary competitors, the label isn't describing the product. It's describing the marketing strategy. Number 6, Navitas Organics, matcha powder. Navitas Organics is a legitimately respected superfood brand. Their acai, cacao nibs, and hemp seeds are solid. Their matcha, however, is the work of a brand that does not particularly care about matcha. It exists because the matcha boom created a gap on their ingredient shelf. not because anyone at Navitas woke up obsessed with sourcing first harvest Uji powder. Culinary grade, acceptable color, surprisingly clean dissolution, no clumping, no grit. That's genuinely one of its strengths. But the taste is flat, one-dimensional, and completely forgettable. And here's where it gets tricky. It has surprisingly low bitterness for a culinary grade. That should sound like a positive. It isn't. The absence of bitterness here isn't the presence of sweetness. It's the absence of character. This matcha isn't harsh. It's just nothing. Clean Plates said it directly. Its taste was a little lackluster and grassy. We wouldn't recommend it for teas or lattes. It could be great for baking. Reddit's matcha community has reached the same conclusion repeatedly. No third-party heavy metals testing. No specific Japanese region disclosed anywhere in the product materials. The real kicker is the price. Navitas sits at a Whole Foods mid-range price point, a premium natural grocery premium for an entry-level culinary product. They're banking on the shelf placement doing the positioning work. It does. Navitas makes a fine addition to your next batch of matcha cookies. The problem is they're not telling you that on the tin. Number 5, Chamberlain Coffee, Ceremonial Matcha. Emma Chamberlain launched her coffee brand in 2019 and eventually expanded into matcha. And to be fair, this is not a cynical cash grab. Sourced from Shizuoka, Japan, a legitimate tea-growing region with over 750 years of cultivation history. Ceremonial Grade A, USDA, organic, non-GMO. On paper, it checks real boxes. But here's the thing, Shizuoka is not Uji. It's not Kagoshima. Those regions define the prestige tier of matcha terroir, and the difference shows up in the cup. What Chamberlain coffee delivers is smooth, nutty, and mildly earthy. Approachable, creamy, genuinely easy to drink. The color's vibrant. For a beginner, this is a very satisfying cup. What it lacks is depth, the layered umami, the lingering sweetness, the complexity that builds sip after sip, and that's not here. Think testing, reviewers. Put it plainly, it's really just the same matcha most brands are selling, marked up with the branding. It's not offering anything unique. At 70 cents per gram with no published independent heavy metals testing, the value case gets harder to make. Chamberlain Coffee's audience is largely first-time matcha buyers with no prior reference point. The bar they're clearing is Starbucks, not Ippodo. Shizuoka is a deliberate sourcing choice. High volume, consistent, scalable for a target shelf program. You can't build retail distribution on small batch Uji farms. They're banking on you not having the reference point yet. That's not malicious. It's just the math. It's good matcha for people who haven't had great matcha yet. And that's not an insult. It's just the honest territory this product occupies. If this is already saving you from a bad purchase, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's next. Number 4, Jade Leaf, Organic Ceremonial Matcha, Jade. Leaf was founded in 2014 by 2 Americans frustrated by one problem. High-quality matcha was inaccessible to U.S. consumers at reasonable prices. So they fixed it. Sourced from Uji and Kagoshima. Family-run farms overseen by Morita-san, a tea master with over 50 years of experience. USDA Organic certified, and one of the only brands at this price point that publishes independent third-party lab results for heavy metals and pesticides. Not because they have to, because they chose to. The product earns it. Open the tin and brilliant, vibrant green announces itself. The aroma is wonderfully sweet. The taste is well-balanced, earthy, and clean. A smooth complexity that builds without aggression, a sweet finish that lingers. Chowhound's 2026 taste test ranked it best overall. A side-by-side against Ippodo found the gap subtle, noticeable only in direct comparison. What makes this particularly impressive is the value math. At 50 to 67 cents. Per gram, Jade Leaf undercuts Chamberlain Coffee while sourcing from more prestigious regions with a more experienced tea master. And where Chamberlain publishes no heavy metals testing, Jade Leaf puts it on the website. That transparency alone makes this a significantly better purchase at a lower price. The Amazon #1 position is not an algorithm accident. It's the result of a brand that did the real work and let the product earn it. That almost never happens. Here it did. Number 3, Encha, Organic Ceremonial Matcha. Dr. Li Gong founded Encha with the precision of a scientist and the conviction of someone who understood exactly where great matcha comes from. First harvest ceremonial grade. Single origin from the Uji Mountains of Kyoto, the most historically prestigious matcha terroir on the planet. USDA Organic Certified, JAS Organic Certified. The Japanese agricultural standard, considerably more rigorous for matcha than USDA alone, and independently tested for heavy metals with lead not detected at California Prop 65 limits. That last point deserves a pause. Prop 65 lead standards are among the toughest consumer safety thresholds in the world. Most matcha brands quietly avoid testing at that level. Encha tests at it and publishes the result. That's a confident statement backed by data. The powder is among the finest grinds on this list. Silky, effortless, no sifting required. Bright, vibrant green, the taste is smooth and clean with a rich umami that builds gradually. Fresh, assertive grassiness a step more complex than Jade Leaf. Low astringency even at higher concentrations. Matcha Connection called it possibly the best brand of matcha powder we have tried yet. One watch item, Encha changed ownership in recent years. Reddit's matcha community has flagged some consistency concerns post-acquisition. Not dramatic, but worth monitoring. The founding DNA is still visible in the product. For now, at 67 cents a gram, Encha gives you single origin Uji sourcing, dual organic certification, and documented Prop 65 compliance. A combination brands charging twice this price routinely don't offer. And if you're finding this ranking useful, hit the like button. It really helps the channel cut through the noise. Number 2, Pique, Sun Goddess Organic Ceremonial Matcha. Simon Cheng founded Pique in 2014 with one conviction. If you're consuming something every single day, it has to be pure. Not probably pure. Verified, tested, and retested pure. Sun Goddess is sourced from Kagoshima, the southernmost tip of Japan, positioned as the region with the least environmental pollutant exposure. Crafted by Mr. Mori, a 9th degree Japanese tea master. Fewer than 15 exist in the world, and it is the first matcha to achieve quadruple toxin screening, independently tested for heavy metals, pesticides, toxic mold, and radioactive isotopes. No other brand on this list matches that. Standard. The powder is beautiful, deep, vibrant green. The taste is clean and precise, sweet, umami, crisp grass, and a subtle marine note that work together without competing. Not intense, not aggressive. Controlled. It performs best iced, where cold temperature draws out a natural sweetness that's genuinely exceptional. The real kicker is the price. At $1.11 per gram, $1.75 per serving at the subscribe and save rate. A significant portion of that cost is not the powder. It's the single-serve sachet packaging and the testing infrastructure. Oolong Owl put it plainly, the cost is sunk into packaging and testing. Testing tea costs a lot. That's not a criticism, it's a transparency note. But here's where it gets tricky. The flavor, while excellent, is not materially superior to Encha at 40 cents less per gram. If purity verification is your non-negotiable, the premium is justified. If flavor to dollar value is the metric, the gap is smaller than the price suggests. The most rigorously tested matcha on this list, full stop. But there's one brand that doesn't compete on certifications, doesn't need endorsements, and has been doing this longer than most countries have existed as we know them. Number 1, Ippodo Tea, Ceremonial Matcha. Ippodo Tea was established in Kyoto in 1717. Over 300 years of continuous operation, sourcing exclusively from Uji, the birthplace of Japanese matcha cultivation. Traditional stone grinding methods that preserve chlorophyll, antioxidants, and flavor compounds that industrial milling quietly destroys. Ippodo does not label their matcha as ceremonial or culinary. Every blend they produce, from the accessible hooray to the premium is high enough quality to drink on its own. The distinction defining this entire industry is irrelevant when your floor is already this high. Open any Ippodo tin and the color alone is a statement. The most brilliant emerald green of any brand tested. The aroma is sweet, inviting, and distinctly fresh. Umon is full-bodied, deeply complex, and robustly umami. Designed for traditional preparation, for a bowl and a bamboo whisk and a few minutes of actual attention. Horai is lighter and smoother, light-hearted in Ippodo's own words, still incomparably clean and nuanced. Virtually zero bitterness even if you over whisk, even if your temperature is slightly off. Japan Heart Store's 2026 review of over 30 brands named Best Ceremonial overall. Serious Eats confirm every Ippodo blend is high enough quality to drink on its own. The criticisms are worth naming: no USDA, organic certification, no published independent heavy metals testing, gaps Encha and Pique address directly. Almond runs approximately $1.56 per gram. U.S. availability is primarily online. These are not nothing, but Ippodo does not market, no influencer seating, no doctor endorsements. Their 300 years of reputation is the entire marketing budget. A tea house in Kyoto doing the same thing the same way for 3 centuries, trusting the product to find the people worth finding. Their accessible blends, Harai, Hatsu, are genuinely affordable for the quality tier they represent. You don't need to buy Uman to understand why Ippodo is at the top of this list. You just need to try 1 cup. 300 years, 1 region, traditional stone grinding, no marketing budget, no influencer deals. Just matcha that makes everything else on this list feel like a rehearsal. The matcha market is a battlefield between brands that care about what's in the tin and brands that care about what's on the label. After 8 of them, the divide is exactly that clear. At the bottom, Carrington Farms fails a basic color test, and MatchaAIA collects a ceremonial grade premium it hasn't earned. At the top, Ippodo has been quietly producing exceptional matcha from the same region with the same methods for 300 years. It tastes exactly like the sounds. What this ranking should also tell you, you don't have to spend peak money to drink well. Jade Leaf and Encha are both excellent, both transparent, and both under 70 cents a gram. The value exists, you just have to know where to look. Here's what to take with you. Ceremonial grade means nothing without an origin region. An origin region means nothing without harvest transparency. And all of it means nothing if the brand won't tell you what's actually in the powder. Read past the label, ask for the test results. And if a brand can't answer those questions, that's the answer. Hit subscribe if this changed how you'll shop for matcha, and drop a comment telling us which ranking you think we got wrong.